Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm a little bit behind, so I do apologise on that. We're still looking at the Real Witches Year by Kate West, and I'm going to have to backtrack a little bit, unfortunately, because I need to go over a couple of days that we have missed, and I'm going to do a separate video for the day that we're actually on today. So the day that we're looking at now is feeding the birds. So in the book, basically, Kate West is just saying about how, as witches, pagans, fellow nature watchers, that we should get involved with helping to supplement diets of animals that are going to be struggling in the winter months. So, I mean, it's not really been too bad this year because it has been quite mild so far, but we're still certainly nowhere near out of those harsher months, or what can happen in those harsher months. So I have, even though I'm in quite a built up area, I seem to have quite a lot of birds that come into my garden, and what I like to do is to give them some nuts and some fruit, like dried fruit, like raisins and things like that, and just sprinkle that out in the garden. I've also given them a little bit of bread. Now, I don't know, I think someone might have told me once that maybe bread isn't the best thing because it's quite stodgy and they prefer to eat fruit and nuts, but I still think if that's all you've got, then it's still nicer to give them a little something than nothing at all. So yeah, at one point I did have sort of like 10 birds in my garden, and my garden is not by any means big at all. So it was quite nice, and I felt that little bit more of connection with nature, because I'd sort of made that conscious effort to put that out there for the birds, and I felt like I'd done my little part as much as I could to help, just in my own garden. And I mean, as Wiccans, as witches, as pagans, what more do we want than to have that nature on our doorstep? Having the birds in the garden is fantastic, because it's just makes you feel all that more connected, and it's lovely to have that. So yeah, she's in the book, she's just talking about what ways you can do it, ways you can put it out. So she's talking about making like a fat ball, using like fat from either your kitchen or lard or something like that, and then rolling that all together with nuts and fruits and such, and then putting them outside in nets. One thing that she also did say, which I thought was a really good idea, is to pass their best apples and things like that, and then push them onto twigs. If you've got trees in your garden. Unfortunately, I don't have trees in my garden because, like I say, I'm in quite a built-up area, so most of the things that I have are in pots. But if you do have that would be an awesome idea, because that would, they like things like that, and it also means that you're putting your waste back into the earth, back into nature, back into these animals that are going to need it, whereas we probably would just bin them. So yeah, that's what she's discussing on January 8th. So the next part here, which she's going into, is candle magic. Now, candle magic is a very effective and simple way to cast a spell. I've got an example here for what spell candles look like. You can obviously use bigger ones, but these are quite good because you don't want to be using the same candle twice. If you've used this candle here as your spell candle for a specific spell, then you do not want to be reusing this for something else. When you have set your intention into this candle will be full with your intention of that particular spell. So to then try and use it again for something else is going to completely confuse the magic. So, I mean, as you can see, these are tiny. They really are quite small in scale to my hand. So the best place to put these is either in salt, in a stand-in salt, or you can take some soil from the earth and place them in there, and you're going to want to burn your candle the whole way down. That will obviously depend on what type of magic you're doing, what your question is, and also if you decide to use a candle of this size. But these are quite small, so I feel it's very it's a good idea to burn these right down to the bottom, and in burning them completely out, that releases your intent. So One thing that I didn't grab, which I will just quickly grab now, is on here somewhere. Here. Sorry guys, I should be more organised. So what you can use with the candles is your anointment oil. Now I've just got this one here, and I think I've showed you it before, but it's very worn down. This is Auric Blends, sorry. And it's an anointment oil. This particular one is in Divine Opium, and it smells absolutely amazing. When it comes to anointment oils, you can obviously make your own. You can infuse them with a specific oil if you want to use an oil that's specific to the spell that you're casting that time. But I like to use this one because it speaks to my soul. Whenever I smell it, I feel complete focus. My brain goes straight into intent mode, if you like, for lack of a better word. But it's amazing. It smells fantastic, and I feel such a deep connection when I can smell that scent. And that's a good way to work, because ultimately these are all tools. All of these are just tools. They're tools to help us focus our intent and to help us understand what we are trying to achieve by casting this spell. So what you can do, if I can get the lid off. This particular one is handy because it has got like a little roller ball. Sorry guys, my camera is not focusing very well at all. But anyway, I just literally would take my finger, take some of the oil onto my finger. Say we're going to use this red candle because we want... Now I'm just going to rub that into the candle. Just going to take a moment just to focus what I want, and then I would place that into the holder. Then what I would use is the oil to anoint my forehead and then both of my wrists. And then you can smell that you're linked, you've made that connection, you're focusing your intent. Now obviously the whole point in using candle magic is that you're using the element of fire. So fire magic is good to use, opposed to say earth magic, which is also great to use, but tends to be a lot slower. One thing I like to do with these candles is, and what she also discusses in the book, is actually like inscribing in them. So taking like a blunt pencil or a pen with the nib not down, and then just inscribing into it what you want. I actually have got a bigger candle which I've done that with, which I did on the new moon just before Yule, I believe. And I wrote on there things that I wanted to get rid of, or things that I wanted to things that I wanted to have for that new moon. I think it was something along the lines of I wanted to be like more relaxed and more calm, so I inscribed calm into it. And this particular candle I actually go back to when I'm not feeling calm, or when I'm feeling a bit up in the air, and I light that candle and I just take a moment, and as it's burning I imagine it all melting away. But if you was going to use that sort of example here, you would probably use a blue candle, not a red one, but inscribe it with calmness or relaxation, and then you can visualize it burning. Now what I like to do is when I've got my candle in my holder, I will just put my hands sort of around it, on it, over it, whatever, and I sort of envision all of the the worry or whatever it might be sort of pouring out through my hands into this candle. I'm releasing it into this candle. I'm pushing all of that negativity or whatever it might be into that candle. And I'm just going to take a moment before lighting the candle, and envision that once I feel that candle is filled with that energy, I would then light the candle. I may have a little incantation written down. I may even wrap it with ribbon to bind it. But ultimately I would envision that with the burning of that candle, my intent is released, my negativity is being released and sent into the ether to be, transformed into something different. sometimes I like to envision releasing, especially when it comes to negative energy or negativity, I like to envision it as like butterflies leaving, because butterflies are obviously a positive view, they're also transformative, so I envision that energy transforming into something else and something positive. And then once I feel like I've waited for enough time, I mean, if you wanted to, if you had the time, you could sit there for the whole duration. I mean, I'm not sure how long these particular ones would burn for, and probably would be a couple of hours maybe, but if not, then you could you could just leave it there. Obviously make sure that it's on a heat-proof surface, it's well stable, so it's not going to fall anywhere that's going to catch light, and obviously don't leave while it's still burning. But yeah, that's how I would do it, and that is very simple. I mean, if you guys want help or anything with something specific, then let me know. But yeah, that's a sort of a general, very simple candle spell. One thing to bear in mind when you're using candles is the colours of the candles, because that's again a big thing of what candle magic is about, is the specific colours anyway. So like blue you could use for calming, red would be anything like passion, pink generally tends to be more for love, but if you didn't have a pink candle and you wanted to inscribe love onto a red candle, that wouldn't be a problem. Yellow for me means like youth, happiness, sunshine, all positive energy. This again would be an awesome candle to use if you wanted to infuse positivity into your life. But really it's the same with anything. It's what that colour means to you. You can read a book and it will tell you this colour means such and such, but to you that might not mean that colour, that energy. So it's no good then using that candle for that energy if it doesn't resonate with you. So the best thing to do is to pick the candles that you feel drawn to and what that means to you, and then take it from there. So that candle magic is for January 9th, which is still a day behind. And I like the little quote at the bottom. It says, "In magic, as in all things, it is focus and intent which make it work." And what she's again sort of reinstating there, if you like, is that intent is what makes the spell work. The candle itself is a vessel, it's a help, but it's not what makes the spell work. It's your intent what makes the spell work. Right, okay, so just coming on to January 10th, I'm going to do a whole section, a different video for January 11th, because it's about an animal healing spell, and I want to talk about that more. But January 10th is regarding the cat. Now, what she's going on about here, what she's talking about here, I should say, is about cats and how they're so heavily linked to witches and pagans, and why we seem to be so drawn to them. I mean, cats are very sacred animals. I mean, it's not often that you find someone who doesn't like cats, and especially in the Wiccan pagan world, they're just, you know, everyone seems to have them because they have such a fantastic energy. Now, cats have been heavily linked with a lot, excuse me, of different religions throughout history. The most prominent that I can think of, or what cats refer to for me, is Egyptian mythology. Obviously, you've got the goddess Bast, who is a cat goddess, in an ancient Egyptian goddess, and in Egypt, back in ancient times, it was actually a law against killing or harming cats. If you was found to have killed a cat either by accident or on purpose, it was punishable by death, because they were so sacred. In Egypt, they have actually got the temple of Bast, and they have found thousands and thousands of bodies of cats there, because what people used to do back in ancient times was, when their cat passed away, they would take it to the goddess Bast's temple and have her buried there, him or her buried there. The goddess was such revered as such a fantastic goddess that this was such a prominent thing in that time. It's just a shame it's kind of not that way now. Maybe not on the quite the severe level, but I mean, cats are fantastic animals. they have such a beautiful energy. And I mean, some people I think say that cats aren't loyal, or they're not very loving, and I completely disagree with that. I just think that they tend not to take your crap, which is a good thing. You know, if people are not being nice to their cats, then good. I hope they do run off. You know, why would you wouldn't stay with someone if they were, you know, horrible to you all the time? And I think cats are a bit more in tune, and they're like I say, they're less likely to take your crap, so they will just leave. But yeah, there's lots of things you can do with cats in terms of magic wise, and there's a fantastic book which I have got, which I haven't got out, but it's called, let me just see if I can grab it for you, and this is a fantastic book to get, because it gives you some fantastic exercises that you can use to help you to link with your cat, and to... Sorry guys, that's my cat string there. Speaking of cats. And it's just a fantastic book. So this particular book here, this is called The Enchanted Cat by Ellen Duggan, sorry. And it's an awesome book. It has lots of exercises in there. It's feline fascination, spells and magic. So it tells you about the history of cats, how you can, it tells you the history of them, so it goes into the stories of Bast, different religions, what they believed with cats. See, like here, for example, goes on about Bast, mother of all cats. But what I really like in here is it also has little things about how you can help use them in your magic, because cats are very intuitive. They're very in tune with everything. I mean, you guys will probably know this if you've got a cat, but the second that I do anything magical, my cat is around. She wants to be involved. I mean, there was one particular time during a meditation where I was actually sending her healing. This was quite a while ago now, but she hadn't been very well, so I was sending her healing, and midway through the healing she jumped on my knee and was just purring. It was almost as if, well, I actually feel like she knew that I was healing her, and she just wanted to be close to me because she could feel that energy and that love that I had for her. And yeah, I mean, she's been there with me through a lot of times when I felt like I needed someone, and she was there. And this book helped me even further strengthen that connection, because the book tells you about things that you can do for them, like blessing their food, for example, which I think is a really lovely thing to do, especially if you're working with your cat on a magical level, as well as just having them as a beautiful pet. But if you're working with them on a magical level, then I think that's such a lovely thing that you can do for them. And it also, like I said before, it goes into how you can work with them. So, as in how you can ask them to give you energy, or ask them to come around when you are doing your work, so that they can give you some of their cat energy, if you like, their cat magic. So yeah, it's just, there's lots of things you can do. You can do come back cat spells. It's got spells in here. So start from the top then. It says cat deities and the feminine mystique. So it goes into, again, a little bit about all of them. Egyptian days, Sekhmet, Bast, all that sort of stuff. Different types of cats. So is your cat an earth, air, fire or water cat? How to wish upon a rainbow spell. It also gives you little exercises that you can do for, like, if you're reading tarot, for example, how you can get your cat to come to your cards and then imbue their energy onto your cards. And it also has little things in here about how to connect with your cat just on a one-to-one basis. So again, if you're interested in cats, then maybe I'll go into it a bit more on another time, but there's exercises you can do with your eyes that sort of how they recognize each other, and how cats communicate with each other is by having really long slow blinks. And you probably know that your cat does this anyway if you're observant, but I tend to try and do this with my cat quite a lot, and I talk to her through my mind, and she always responds, and ever since I've had this book, I just feel like it's strengthened that connection so much. This is a fantastic book. I would definitely recommend this. If you want me to go into more of an in-depth view of the book, like I did through with the Morrigan book, then I certainly can do. But just a brief overview for now, since we're actually focusing on this particular book. So yeah, back to this book. So it really, this page is only to just go over cats, the folklore of them, which is obviously which is covered more in that particular book, but just a little one on here, which it does say is apparently a cat washing behind its ears is said to forecast rain, and a stroking an affected eye with your cat's tail is thought to cure a sty. These are quite cool little things. I mean, I've never been in the position to have to use that, but that would be interesting to try. I mean, cat energy is just so fantastic. I mean, you will know, if you've got a cat, that connection that you have with your cat is just absolutely fantastic. And I love animals of all description. I grew up with dogs. I've always loved animals of any description, but cats for some reason just seem to resonate with me, and that energy is just fantastic to work with as well. So yeah, Kate West also does talk about going into your cat. So it's like a guided meditation where witches were said to have been able to transfer part of their mind into the body of the animal, so that they could travel in its shape and experience the things it sees and does. So it was thought that saying the cat has 9 lives is actually an indication of the number of times that a witch can ride with a cat in this way. I personally have never tried that. I don't know if I would want to try that, because I don't feel like it would be any benefit to me doing that. I love having the connection with my cat on the level that I have. I don't think that I would want to invade or take over or go too in depth in that. But that's certainly something that if you want to, you can do. So I'm going to cut short now, because I've already been rambling on probably for far too long, and half of you probably switched off by now. But so that's the few bits there. So just as a recap, we're looking at feeding the birds. So if you have got time to, or if you want to make a feeder or buy a feeder, it's a really lovely thing to do for this time of year, when it is so cold outside and the food is sparse for the poor animals. And then candle magic, have a go with candle magic. Obviously I wouldn't recommend ever doing a spell if you don't need to, because you want to reserve that sacred energy for when you really need it. But when you do have it, try having a go with candle magic. If you're having a stressful week, inscribe your candle with relaxation, inscribe it with calmness, and envision that leaving, and see if that helps you. And just on the final note, cats, if you want to make a connection with your cat, that book is fantastic. But if not, good old-fashioned intuition. Sit with your cat, spend time with your cat, talk to him through your mind. Ask them to connect with you, just give them lots of love and attention. That's all they really want anyway. Thank you for listening, guys. I hope I haven't bored you too much. And my next video will be up, which will be for today's video, on healing animal spells. So if you want to stay tuned, then I will be back with that. Please subscribe and like, and share with your friends if it's interesting to you all. And I will see you soon. Blessed be.